Hey, what's up, Gus?
How's it going? Not much. We're joined by Chuck here, creative director at
It's been a long
the
day, Gus.
Coalition.
Whatever you want to call me.
The creative director. I haven't even had anything to drink yet today. We're here to talk
your
about
problem.
Gears of War 4. It's a game we're super excited for, super hyped.
Absolutely.
I thought it had a killer presentation the other day.
Have you come to the booth?
What's that?
You got to come to the booth and see the demo.
I need to go check it out. I've been stuck
Come on,
here.
Gus.
We're prisoners here.
Take a break, Gus.
I can go from here to there and then back right here.
Yeah.
These other guys can handle it. Come on over.
They can. They're more than capable.
I'll give you the VIP treatment.
I'll go after this. I think
All
this
right.
is my last interview of the day. I'll head
There you
over
go.
after that.
Sweet.
So it was an awesome presentation. I think
Thank
the big mic drop bombshell, of course, is seeing Marcus Phoenix again at
Old
the
man
very end.
Marcus. I loved it.
How
That's what we call him.
How difficult was it to sit on that and not be able to tell people about it? Because I'm sure people were bombarding you with questions about it.
Yeah, we were really nervous. Obviously, everybody wants Marcus back in the game, and we were really nervous about it leading up with all the events that sort of took place on Monday leading up to the, to the briefing, not just for us but for other companies. So it was really cool for us to be able to unveil that at the end and have it be a full surprise for everybody in the briefing and the people watching online. So that was great.
Yeah, I think everyone went crazy for it. So, in Gears 4, we have some new enemies and some new enemy types to fight. How different is it fighting the Swarm versus fighting, the Locusts? How did you have to incorporate those changes?
Yeah, well, there'll be aspects of the enemy sets that's the same, right? Because the core of Gears is cover-based shooter, so you need mirrors, what we call mirrors, but they are basically enemies that act like the player acts. So that makes up the core of the experience. But then obviously we've got a bunch of new enemy types that are in there as well, like the Pouncer. And you also saw the Carrier at the end of the stage demo on Monday. So there's quite a variety. So obviously they're all new. Some represent character styles that you've seen before, but then there's a whole new set of characters that present whole new problems for the player.
Yeah, and the one thing about Gears has always been the dynamic worlds, and watching the demo, my God, everything seemed to change and get blown up, and that there was like a tornado in the middle of everything. It was just like that was some incredible stuff. And how important is that to this game?
Yeah, it's really important. We think about it as almost another monster for the game, right? I mean, at the end of Gears 3, all the Locusts died and all the emulsion was wiped out from the world. So when you think about what this planet would be like if we lost all the petroleum in the planet, who knows what kind of chaos it would cause. So in the 25 ensuing years, it's sort of the planet of Sarah is healing itself, and there's been a lot of chaos. So these wind flares pop up, and those lightning storms pop up, and they do wreak havoc in the game. But what's cool about it is that they're actually systems. They're not scripted events. So every time you play through that, you'll get a different experience. And then, it's up to the player to find the interactive elements that really can change the way that you interact with the encounters. And that also has a huge impact on things like the drop shot or grenade throws and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of a twist in terms of what the player has to deal with inside of the experience, but we think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the lightning storm when I think Laura was controlling a character. She was trying to get through the lightning storm. I kind of crossed my fingers and hoped she may have run into one of those things and actually seen what happened. Imagine nothing good happens when you run into a giant bolt of lightning.
What do you think would happen?
I think it's either really bad or really good, right? You either become a superhero or you become like a charred stain on the
I
ground.
haven't seen the superhero
Okay.
results yet, so only the other one.
Man, the weapons in Gears are always so amazing, and just the grittiness of the game, and the characters feel so meaty, and that's one thing I've always loved about Gears, and it obviously carries over watching some amazing gameplay
And
footage. Right
I think
now.
Gears, in my mind, was probably the first game that had like active reload in it.
Right.
And it made reloading more interactive. It's not just like it's a button you have to hit every now and then. It's like it's another subsystem within.
And
the
you get a
game.
bonus for doing it well, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it was really great, to almost gamify that aspect of
Right.
the game. Are there any other like new innovations like that you'll
We've
talk
got some
about?
other things that we haven't revealed yet. I mean, mostly the things that we showed off and we're showing off in the demo are things like the Buzzkill, which is a new weapon that's based on a concrete saw that's been modified that shoots razor sharp blades throughout the world that
And
bounce
ouch.
around
Yeah,
and can
bounces
actually
them
hurt
off.
the player as well.
Oh,
So you have
really?
to be careful with it. And then the drop shot, which is in Gears fashion a sort of an overpowered device for an activity that you wouldn't really use it for. So it's a mining tool that you shoot out remotely, and then it drops a charge into the earth wherever you let go of the trigger, and it drills down and then it explodes. So we sort
wow.
of weaponize that inside the game. So we've got some cool stuff like that coming up. So
Man,
Yeah, and I love that aspect of like trying to repurpose heavy machinery. Like this is not its intended use, but we're in a fight. This is what we're going to use it for.
well, it's interesting because we've had 25 years on Sarah without war. So if you think about, there's no war machine, so you don't really need to develop new weapons. The the planet of Sarah is trying to rebuild itself, the Cog is trying to rebuild itself. It's really about peace, and this is the emergence of a new enemy class, so there's lots of improvisation of what you can use to fight this new enemy.
Sure. So, I mean, speaking of the Cog, how much will the conflict between the Cog and the Outsiders play into the story? Like, is this going to be something that we're going to deal with throughout the campaign?
Yeah, it's really key to the story overall, and the early part of the story is sort of fleshing out that conflict between the Swarm, between the Cog and the Outsiders, and then the Swarm throw a wrench into that, and now it becomes how do those three factions, work against each other to solve the problem.
Is it the enemy of my enemy is my friend, or like are you a lesser? Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure that becomes very
You'll find out. It's a good story.
And political, so it should be fun.
Exactly.
And remember, if you have any questions, feel free to use the hashtag RTE3 over on Twitter. We're keeping an eye on that.
We're
and
also
on the
watching chat as well.
So yeah, we got some questions. And
So in this game, dealing with this new threat of the Swarm, are we going to ultimately? This is kind of a spoilerish question, so I understand if you can't answer. But will we learn the origin of the Swarm in this game, or is this going to be setting up for more a long-term play?
You will learn a lot about the Swarm, and that's kind of what's interesting about the demo that we're showing now, and some of the footage that you were showing is that that's actually the first time that you encounter the Swarm. So you start to get to discover them along with the characters in the game. It's a little different than the previous Gears, where in Gears 1 you started 14 years into the the events, right? So everybody knew each other, everybody knew who the Swarm were, who the Locusts were. They were all named, right? But this is actually the new emergence day. This is you learn about these new characters and these new enemies along with the heroes in the game.
Oh wow. And that's cool. Now, I'm a collector. I love all the hidden stuff, and Gears has always been really good about hiding, the Cog tags everywhere.
Yeah.
Are we going to have that come back in the game?
Of course.
Excellent. That's what
That,
I
and we've got some pretty good Easter eggs that the team's been working on as well.
Man.
I've heard about a couple of them this week that are.
Coltrane loves whole grain, right?
Exactly. Of course he does. Woo!
How long have y'all been working on Gears 4? I think it seems like we've heard about it for a little while now, but I know these things take years to execute.
Yeah, it'll be about 3 years in total development from the word go, and that's because we started from scratch with the Unreal 4 engine, and the Unreal 4 engine is obviously more advanced and a little bit different, so we had to rebuild a lot of the aspects of the game. So it wasn't as easy as just taking Gears 3 and starting with that and porting it over. Everything had to be built from the ground up. But now we have a new robust engine that'll be able to last us for years for the Gears franchise.
And now, so the one thing about Gears that I really love is the characters are so well fleshed out. I mean, when we have Marcus, who's always been incredible, and then Dom and his whole arc was really powerful and pretty painful, honestly. And then you get even Carmine. It's you love all these characters.
Everybody loves the Carmines.
Oh, everyone loves the Carmines. So how important was it to you guys to really, it sounds like you have a whole new stable of characters. How tough was it to kind of start over fresh, but kind of have the, the fans want some of the old stuff too. What was kind of that balance back and forth?
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because Gears 3 ended pretty definitively. There wasn't much room to say, oh, well, gosh, not all the Emulsion got destroyed, or not all the Locusts got destroyed, so let's just wink at the fans and say they're back. So for us, it was both good and bad, because it was a clean slate to say, okay, where do we want to take this? And by keeping things familiar, like JD Phoenix, son of Marcus Phoenix, and starting there, it gave us some hooks into what fans are used to and what they love about the franchise, but are able to take it in a new direction. So what's great about it is you get to learn about JD, you get to learn about Kate and Del, you get to learn about JD's relationship with his dad and how that impacts everything. So it's a great launching point for where Gears can go in the future, and I think one of the fun things for us is that, now that Microsoft owns the franchise, we know that there's a commitment there to really continue to blow out and grow Gears as a franchise in lots of different ways.
Yeah. So so it sounds like Marcus might have a little bit bigger part to do with the story then.
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
Does switching between the characters affect the gameplay at all? Does it affect the way that you interact with the world or anything
there's
like that?
There's a little bit of change in what happens inside of the encounters and the environment based on who you play. And the one thing that's cool about Gears of War 4 is, as the co-op player, you can actually choose to play as either Del or Kate, so you get that choice starting the game.
All right, so is it 2-player or 4-player co-op?
It's 2-player co-op.
2-player co-op, all right.
And is it drop in, drop out?
Yeah, you can
Cool.
join in progress anytime you want.
Cool.
I love that. So I'm reading something here. I don't know that this is true, so I'm gonna
okay.
ask you. Does Gears have split screen?
Gears does have split screen, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's a tenet for the game, right? One of the things that we talk about at the Coalition that Rod Ferguson brought to us, which I think is really important, is that for Gears of War, co-op is the cake, it's not the icing. So for us, from the beginning, we think about everything as what's that co-op experience going to be, whether it's the encounters, whether it's the enemies, whether it's the story mode, it's all built with co-op in mind.
Well, it seems like, so many games nowadays, have started removing that split screen, like
Yeah.
that couch co-op option, is that, why is that important to you to maintain that? Like,
Well,
it seems
so-
like it'd be easy just to write it off.
It's certainly easy to write it off, but to be honest with you, we get so much feedback from people about they play Gears on the couch with their friend, with their kids, with their brother. It's a different type of bonding experience, and people are just used to that. And to take that away, I think, would be taking away, part of what the essence of Gears is. So for us, it's really important for that to stay a part of the experience.
No, I've got
Real fast, I want to follow up on that.
All right.
The chat on YouTube is exploding with excitement
Good.
at the prospect of split screen, and
Fantastic.
they're all very happy that you're continuing to do that.
All right, I got a question here from Twitter. Ella Roosevelt 14 says, "Can I start with Gears of War 4 and not play the others?" So if you've never played before, how's that?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the cool thing is it's a brand new experience. So for somebody who's never played Gears before, it's a great place to jump in, and you'll learn about everything along with the players in the game, and that's really cool. But for people who have played Gears of War before and have played all the other ones, there's a ton of fan service in there, so there'll be little winks and nods and tidbits of information that if you have played Gears in the past, I think you'll be pretty satisfied with the things we've added in there.
Excellent.
That's cool. Another follow-up question, going back to talking about some of these weapons. Out of everything we've seen so far, if you had to pick one favorite weapon, what's your favorite weapon?
For me, it's the drop shot. I love the drop shot. When you get a headshot with a drop shot and it drills into somebody's skull and then they shake and explode from the inside out, it's pretty satisfying.
Good.
And then the execution, you probably saw that on the briefing, where the execution for that is you actually pick up the enemy from behind the head and you can shoot them across the level. So it's pretty fun.
It sounds gruesome.
So it's rooted in reality, is what you're saying.
Of course.
I want to thank Aaron Porter on Twitter for the question about the weapons.
Yeah, and I gotta say too, as someone who really does not like puns, thank you for not making a Gears of 4 reference or anything like that.
no.
That would I appreciate that.
That was my.
So-
I said that last year. I was like, we should.
Did you really? Say
Yeah, I think we
Gears of-
talked with Rod Ferguson last year.
We do have at the office, we have occasionally our Beers of War,
Oh, okay, well that
which I think most people can appreciate.
I can respect Beers of War. Yeah, absolutely. Man, get like a Marcus brew. That'd be good.
Exactly.
You know? That'd be fun. A little like a carmine spiced rum. I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure out something.
Spiced rum.
You're way out of the box.
Yeah, we could have a whole line.
I like
it'd be
it.
Fantastic.
Rum isn't even beer, Jack.
I know.
What
but
are you
it's
talking
liquor.
about?
We're getting drunk.
We're going off the reservation quick.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, I'm all for it. So was it difficult, picking up and working on this game, because people are such fans of the franchise, and like you said, 3 had such a definitive end. When you're looking at creating the story, how do you even approach that? It must be really daunting.
It is. I mean, bigger than that was just taking over for Epic. I mean, this is an iconic franchise, right? When you talk about your top 10 franchises in gaming history, this one's up there. It defined HD graphics for the last generation. I mean, it's such an important franchise that for us it was really nerve-wracking to take it over, because there is such a hardcore fan base. I mean, people get tattoos, they cut their wedding cakes with lancers. The fan base is hardcore and dedicated, and it was really important for us to make sure that we were serving that fan base correctly. So, for us it was about doing it right before doing it different. And I think it's really easy for people to say, okay, what can we change about Gears of War? But for us, it was about making sure that experience feels like Gears before we start to do something different with it. And that was really a focus.
Yeah, and based on everything I've seen so far, it looks super authentic. I mean, it looks
You got to come over.
It's got
you got
that
to
look.
come over and see it all. See it in action.
I'm going to go put my
Maybe
hands
we'll put
on
it in your
controller.
hands.
Now, one thing
Very
I don't know
nice.
if you can talk about much, but they announced new Horde mode. Can we talk anything about that?
We can talk about that Horde mode's coming back.
All
Isn't that
right.
exciting? Yeah, that's another one that on my Twitter and the emails that we get and all the posts, it's constantly bring back Horde, as if we weren't thinking about bringing back Horde.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was, again, one of those things that was a lot of fun for us to be able to announce. And, we've been playing it for the last few months in the office, and I got to say, it is better than ever.
Oh,
we
nice.
have taken the things that we've learned from Gears 2, which was the first Horde, and obviously Gears 3, and we've advanced that, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun for players when they get their hands on it.
Nice. We got a comment here on Twitter from at Doug2Miller. He's asking, can we get an official Gears of War drinking game by the release of Gears 4?
I can't do any of that. You guys can do whatever you want.
Jack, we got to make up.
All right, we'll make it up.
We got to make up.
We'll come up with a board.
Yeah,
I'm too busy finaling the game. You guys figure it out.
You make
Let me
the
know
real
what you
game.
come up with.
We'll make the
Yeah.
ancillary get drunk game.
Yeah, we'll throw it next to you and be like, what do you think about this stuff? And if it's like, if you have any ideas, feel free to
All
kick
right.
it back. Otherwise, I'm sure you might be a little busy working
We
on
love feedback from the fans, so let us know what you want.
There you go. That's what I like to hear.
So the game is, I'm just double checking here, it comes out October 11th later this year. I mean, so
Yeah.
you're in, probably your final sprint, just trying to get all kinds of stuff.
We
nailed
are.
down
The
at
team
this
back
point.
in Vancouver is working hard right now, trying to final the game, so they're polishing it up and fixing all the bugs. It ships October 11th. Cool thing is, if you go to gearswar.com and you pre-order Ultimate Edition, you not only get the season pass, but you also get early access to the game on October 7th.
Oh, wow.
So I'm guessing that by afternoon of October 7th, we'll see the entire playthrough of the campaign somewhere.
Nice.
Nice. So I'm getting a message from our director over here. He's asking, can we confirm that Anya is JD's mom?
We can, yeah. We've talked about that before.
Look at it, he's so happy.
he literally threw his hands in the air in celebration there. Nice. So will we maybe see Anya back in this one, or is that another thing?
You'll have to stay tuned.
All right. Excellent, man.
Yeah, I know people are always curious, and I mean that's the problem, right? I'm sure everyone's asking, are we going to see Marcus Phoenix again? Are we going to see Marcus Phoenix again?
Yeah.
You see him at the end of the trailer, and now it's like, okay, who else are we going to see?
Exactly.
It's never enough. It's always just give me more, give
Yeah.
me more. But that speaks to like what you're talking about. It speaks to the passion and the veracity that people have.
Well, the nice thing about Gears is Gears has such a broad collection of heroes. I mean, you go back through all the games, and whether you like Paddock or you like Alicia or you like Sam or you like Cole or Baird, I mean, there's so many different characters for us to pick from. So, I mean, there's obviously a lot of opportunity for us to do a lot of different things with the legacy characters.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the multiplayer too, because that's
Good.
a lot of times you see a lot of new skins popping up, and that's kind of an opportunity to see some of those older players maybe popping back up. So
Maybe.
I mean, Gears multiplayer has always been a blast, and that's one of the few multiplayer games I'm actually good at. Something about the third person, I'm better than a first person game. So I don't know what it is, but I appreciate that. So
Good.
For a long time, Gears multiplayer used to be almost like golf for me. It was like a networking opportunity where it's like I went home at the end of the day. It's like, and I'd play with industry friends, and you
Right.
just like in a party on Xbox Live, you with your headset, you just like shooting the shit, making connections, and talking about potential future projects together.
Right.
And it was really weird to me that game lent itself to that because it's such a competitive game, such a violent game. But there was something like super soothing about just playing like that. So
But not just that, I mean, the LAN part of it too, right? Gears was one
Yeah.
of the first games to do LAN and still does LAN. So you get those opportunities where you can get people together with their Xboxes and still play without the over the internet. So
yeah.
So talking about the competitive aspect of it, how does like esports in the future of like ultra competitive gaming, like how does that play into your thoughts for Gears 4?
yeah, it's a huge part of our initiatives going forward. I mean, if you saw what we did with Ultimate Edition, we actually did 2 seasons of esports play along with some open competitions. So the feedback and the response to that was really good. So we're continuing with that. We're adding some stuff like additional broadcast options or camera options for display. So, for me, being a huge sports fan, it's really important for me to be able to see sort of the strategies and the tactics play out, and then being able to have an extracted cam to be able to see players move together and work together and see how those strategies work on the battlefield is really important. So that's been an emphasis for us, and we'll continue to update that and release new features after the game launches.
Yeah, that's like one thing. Microsoft announced the tournaments and stuff.
The arena, yeah.
Yeah, arena. So is that something you guys are looking at?
Yeah, of course. I mean, anytime platform does an initiative like that, it's great because we don't have to do the work. So
Awesome. So if people want to keep up with the studio, do you all have like a Twitter or website people can go to for more
we
information?
do. You can go to gearswar.com or you can go to Coalition Gears, I think.
We'll take a
shaking
look.
her head over there.
We'll
No,
add it in there.
sorry.
We'll figure it out.
And
Trust me, if anybody followed me on Twitter, they would realize I'm terrible at the Twitter.
And if people want more information, they can also subscribe to The Know on YouTube. We'll be updating with latest Gears of War 4 information as it becomes available. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks
we
for
really
having me.
appreciate it. We're going to throw back over to Joel and Adam right now.